All right, welcome into a special edition of the Bird Cave, brought to you by my boy Craig Burton, who's off camera from Beer We Go.
Here we go.
Got my man Jason Russell. How are you, sir?
What's going on? I'm glad to be here. This is exciting to be with Beer We Go.
Absolutely. And Jason came in, again, through Craig, as he's a football guy. I'm a football guy. Football guys are just alike, man. We love to get together and just talk ball.
Yeah, I love it. I always say that, like, you know, the fraternity of football players, it doesn't matter what Division 1, 2, Division 3, you know, we all go through the same thing. So it's a pretty cool fraternity to be a part of.
It's a very good fraternity, man. And it is. It's a special kind of craziness for guys to play the game of football, man. So let me get first off into a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
What you do, you know, career-wise, and then we'll kind of backtrack about your playing career through college, and then what you're doing today with flag football and such too. So you are from Woodland Hills?
Woodland Hills, Woody High. Graduated 2000 under the great George Novak.
So
we had a good team there. We had a lot of guys. I played with a couple guys. I think back then we only had really like three of us that went Division 1. But one of my teammates at the time I graduated, Sean Spencer, he went to Pitt and then went to the NFL for like 8, 9, almost 10 years, I believe. So
that's hard to believe. Woody High, not very many D1 prospects like that too. Yeah. But I mean, again, because it's one of the best and most well-respected Western PA football programs and high school programs out there. So, and obviously you now work at University of Pittsburgh.
Yep. And
tell us a little about that position, and then we'll get into a little bit more of that here in a little bit. Tell us about that.
So I've been at University of Pitt for 17 years. Currently, I work in the Frederick Arness College. Mm-hmm. I'm a director of student services, but I'm also recently the director of advising as well.
Okay.
So they kind of had me overseeing 6 departments. They're about to restructure. I'm a Walmart of the Federal Market. That's what I always tell people. I oversee pretty much everything there, but I've been out before being in the Honors College. I was an advisor, academic advisor for 13 years. So it's cool, man. I'm a Pitt. I didn't think I'd ever work at a university. I kind of fell into this job. I was dating this girl one time, and I was looking for a new job, and she was just like, "You want to work at Pitt?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she just put my resume in, and I've been there ever since. So.
Well, it's always good to see, like I said, an ex-collegiate athlete get in with the colleges, or just be able to give back to the community somehow in multiple avenues. And working in a university is one of them, so that's really good. And I know from Woody High, let's start with just your playing career, and then we're going to branch off to, and we'll get maybe a little bit more what you were doing after you hung up the cleats, and obviously in your coaching career. But recruiting stories are always kind of fun. And I know I went to Robert Morris because of coaches.
Right.
Playing for an ex-NFL coach and Joe Walton, Dan Radakovich, things like that. Hey, first program ever. How often can you say, you know what, I was part of the very first football program ever in a college? So going through your recruiting process, how did you choose the University of Cincinnati? Yeah. And was there a close consideration of another school? But tell us a little bit about that recruiting process.
All right, so I tell the story all the time. So I'm the youngest out of 3, and I was really the only one that graduated from college.
Okay.
Out of my family, and I'm playing football, and getting all this recognition. Street and Smith magazine, ESPN magazine. I'm getting all this accolades, and all these schools are reaching out to me.
Okay.
I have a bucket, like a huge bucket. I actually had 3 D1 basketball scholarships.
Also basketball. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
So it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
My parents don't really know what's going on. We nobody's been through this before.
Okay.
The first school that reached out to me is Boston College, right?
Okay.
And I never forget, I was watching Syracuse. At this time, I'm over the recruiting process. I don't think I went the 8th or 9th period at all for 2 months.
People coming in to see you.
They're coming to school,
and
it's almost like speed dating. It was 3 coaches, 4 coaches are coming in.
Never heard of speed dating. I like that. That's
funny. I mean, hey, can we get Jason out?
Yeah.
And I'm it's 3 or 4 coaches, and I'm going in some room with them, and they spending 15, 20 minutes a piece with you, and you got it. They got spilled, whatever. And I never forget. This is probably a month and a half, and I'm over it. And Boston College calls me, and when the head coach Call you, that's when they want you.
Yeah.
And the head coach is calling me, and I'm watching Syracuse, and they had Donovan McNabb. He was playing basketball. And I'm watching this game, and the head coach is talking to me. And he's like, yeah, you seem like you're busy right now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this game. Can you call me back? And I hung up. And my mother's like, what happened? I told him call me back. I'm watching this game. And my mother's going off on me, right? My mother's going off. So then I call the guy back. I call the coach back, and we're talking. And he says, we want you to come to Boston College. And I told him no. And he asked why. And I was like, I don't like y'all team colors. And
everyone's got their motivation.
That was it. And I never forget. It was just I didn't know that was.
For the record, I don't like those colleges. I don't like their colors either. They're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah. As I got older, this is a beautiful school I turned out.
Yeah, the Hardy campus is gorgeous.
Yeah. But I didn't know anything. I'm like, weird reasons why I'm turning schools out.
Yeah.
Maryland, University of Maryland was recruiting me. And I turned them down because the brochure they sent, and at the front, they showed the stadium, and the stadium wasn't full. So I said, no, the stadium ain't full.
Okay.
And it's just stuff like this. It's nothing with that. It's nothing about. I don't know anything about these schools other than just very superficial stuff, and I'm turning them down.
So with Cincinnati, was it did Minter call you, or was it like your DC or?
The way I get to Cincinnati is the craziest. We're playing Woodland Hills. We're playing in the championship game at Three Rivers.
Yes.
And Quade at the time had the last game in the night. Yep. So we're just I'm at my house, and I'm just watching games on TV, and I'm watching the high school games on, and I'm flipping to college games. And Cincinnati's playing, and at the time they had the old turf, and there was nobody in the ground. And I remember looking at it, watching, and I was telling all my friends and my parents were there, and I literally said, I was like, I'll never go to that school. And I flipped the channel, and I started watching the high school games again. So then the recruitment process is coming on, and Cincinnati's reaching out. And I'm like, no. Y'all don't get anybody.
Yeah.
My mother keeps talking about Cincinnati. I think you should visit Cincinnati. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to Cincinnati. I think you should just visit the school. Keith Willis and Mike Tomlin are recruiting me to go to Cincinnati at the time. Mike Tomlin was the coach of the Steelers. They're recruiting Keith Willis, who played for the Steelers, is recruiting me. They keep coming to the school. They keep coming. They keep showing up. And eventually I said, I'll come on a visit. And it's about a week before I'm about to go on a visit, and my friend Sean Spencer wants to go on a visit somewhere else.
Okay.
So I say, I'll just go with you to your school. Let's just go visit that school. So Cincinnati calls back and like, hey, Keith Willis, hey, you ready for your visit this weekend? And I'm like, no, I'm not coming. And why ain't you going? Why'd you go? I'm going to go to another school visit. And he's like, what are you going to do? Well, now he's mad. What are you going to do when the team don't want you? Now he's just really just throwing stuff. What are you going to do? Who you going to call? He said that, and I was just like, Ghostbusters?
That popped in my head, too, man.
I said that. And he started laughing. He actually started laughing. I was like, Ghostbusters? And I went on another visit, and I said, all right, I'll be here the next week. And I went on the visit to Cincinnati just because my mother just kept. My mother wants me, and I couldn't really do the whole weekend because I played basketball. So Friday night, so I had a game. I just had to drive up, right after the game Friday night. I would get to Cincinnati at 3 a.m, wake up, and it would be one day of them just trying to recruit me.
Sure.
And it was just fun. I had a fun. It was the way they treated me, the atmosphere. I felt real welcome. And the guy told me, one of my teammates, Tedrick, I wanted to go LSU visit, and he said, they're just gonna have a bunch of you at LSU. And he said, but you come here, you gonna play. And it hit me, and it was just like Mick Minter. He kept coming to see me, and I left the visit, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come here. And surprisingly, that recruiting class was one of the top recruiting class. So we got new field. We first had the artificial turf.
Yeah.
We got new uniforms.
By the way, the uniforms nowadays with Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. they got like 15 different.
Yeah, they're almost East Coast Oregon or the Midwest Oregon or something, right?
And it's different. So when I'm there now in our recruiting class now, the stands are packed, and we're playing these big games, and it just kind of changed the program.
One of the few actually like the logo, Cincinnati's football logo. Yeah, the Seapaw. Yeah, I think it's creative to put Cincinnati and the Bearcats in there and like that. I actually like it.
Nobody knows what a Bearcat is, but I've seen one. It's not very intimidating, but I've seen one.
No, so whenever you went to Cincinnati, also part of that recruiting was it to play a certain position. Like obviously a lot of times in high school when you're a D1 recruit, you're playing both sides.
Yeah.
You know, did you want to play?
Yes.
What did you want? What did you want to play in college?
I was all state safety coming out of high school.
Okay.
And I remember me, Bob Sanders, were all state safeties in PA. And when I got to Cincinnati and it's time for camp, you know, it's time for the safeties, and we break off, and the coach like whistles, he blows, and he said, "Jerry Russell," and he like shushes me down, like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm with the safety.
The safety, yeah.
And he's like, I'm like, the linebackers? So I like start like trotting down to the linebackers, figuring out what, and I get to he's like,
so you had you go to linebacker?
He got me go down with the linemen, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait.
You keep coming down multiple levels?
I said, wait, y'all ain't tell me this.
Yeah.
Y'all trying to. They assume we have a great Antoine Peak who played. He's one of the great, Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I was built like him coming out of high school. They assumed that I was just gonna get this big. I was gonna hit the weight so hard. And
they're gonna give him some creatine, and
and I was gonna be this all-pro defensive end. That was gonna be it. And I'm like, no, what's not happening? They had me at DN for like a week, and it didn't turn out.
Kind of question though, from a schematic perspective, they're having you come in from as an all-state safety to DN.
Yeah.
Was wide 9 a thing back then, or that was just more like they just wanted you to do speed rushes? I'm assuming because of the speed from the secondary, right?
They wanted me to speed, but I didn't last long. I'll be honest, like I remember we were at camp, and one of my teammates, Matt Topola, big Samoan guy, and we had to do this drill, and we had to bear crawl around cones.
Yeah.
Now I'm behind Matt, and Matt's going, so then it's time for me to go. So I'm like, I'm already mad that I'm down here.
Yeah.
So I'm bear crawling, and I'm going so fast because I'm mad. Matt is out of shape. He just whips his leg around, and he knocks me out, and I don't remember anything else.
So you could tell he purposely leg whipped you.
No, he was just tired.
Oh, he was just tired. Okay.
He didn't know I was behind him coming.
Gotcha.
So he's just trying to get through the drill. And then I just remember, I just see a leg, and then that's it. And then I remember I woke up, hospital, and I got the nickname Fire Truck. Ever since then, I was called Fire Truck because they had to get the ambulance and the fire truck on the field to get me. And then after that, they moved me back to safety, and I moved to safety that year. But then the next year, they moved me to like outside linebacker, but it was more of a strong safety.
Yeah, like a box safety.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Well, you mean you hit those D1 strength and conditioning programs. You can bulk you up pretty quick.
Yeah, and I'm really trying to gain weight. That first, my metabolism was too high. I could not gain anything. I might call my mom like, I don't know what else to eat.
Right, exactly. I tell you, I went in my freshman year. I was $170, $175.
Yep.
I was a skinny little son of a bitch. I actually went in my sophomore year I think about 216, and it was all weight because they gave us. They had one of the assistant strength coaches at Rob Morris was from Nebraska, and he knew his stuff. And then they gave us like these big things of freaking creatine, and I was a gym rat. But and it was because it was like that's the only way I knew I was gonna get on the field.
Right.
I was fast, but I wasn't quick. So I got to get strong.
Yeah.
And actually enough, and my boys are gonna see this for the play at Slippery Rock. Played for Coach Willis.
Oh, really?
It's Slippery Rock. Yeah, he was their D-line coach, and he designed their upper body, obviously strength program, right? I was friends with 3/4 of the D-line at Slippery Rock, right? One from my high school, a couple from like the City League schools here in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if I'm not going to be able to juke somebody, I was watching Sterling Sharp, who was my idol, my first idol, Sterling Sharp, because he was strong and physical. Michael Irvin, hate the Cowboys, but I liked Michael Irvin's game. I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to model my game off of. I'm just going to get strong. And, you know, talking about switching positions, it's like, if I got any bigger, they're going to kick my ass down the tight end, and I ain't blocking no DNs. Just forget about it. But one thing I want a lot of the people who watch the Birdcave, we're recruiting a lot of people that just have knowledge of the game.
Okay.
All right? They're not necessarily the hot take people and things like that, but I've always told them the hardest thing I did in my freshman year of college was football. Mm-hmm. Talk about the difference in a high school playbook versus the college playbook. What was it like for... I looked this up. I think you had AJ Kristoff was your first year D coordinator.
Yeah, AJ Kristoff.
And obviously, their playbook or defensive playbook is vastly different than what you ran. Remember, high school, it's almost like, you know, cover three break, and you go. I mean, in an offense, I wasn't able to play defense. One, we had so many good players in high school, but I couldn't tackle anybody. I could hit you if you weren't looking. So I played on the offense, but just the offensive side, the playbook was so much different. Talk about the difference in the culture shock of a high school playbook to when you got to the University of Cincinnati.
You're good at this. You're good at this. I forgot he was my D coordinator. That's crazy.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. The first time you're right, in high school, we had like cover 2, cover 3.
That's it.
That was it.
That's it.
I mean, that was really it. And when we got to college, like the playbook would be for defense, would be that thick. And I think now, even to this day now, my knowledge of football won't get to like flag, but it's because of the college defense that I played. And I never forget Rick Minner, his son Jesse Minner, who's now the head coach at Baltimore Ravens.
Did not know that.
Yeah, Rick Minner's son Jesse.
That's awesome.
And he was just the ball boy.
Yeah.
At Cincinnati, so
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, he was a ball boy. He was a funny guy, but Rick Minner was like a defensive genius.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why Jesse is the way he is. But the defense was so complex that, like, there would be times where we would call a defense. Like, I'll never forget, we would call a defense, and then it would be a Tennessee check. So it would be under fire 3, Tennessee check, Trojan. And Tennessee check meant tight end to the boundary. So it was like tight end in. Tennessee.
Because you guys do like combo coverages back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was Tennessee. So the first one was under fire, cover 3. So that's a blitz, come down, cover 3. And then if the tight end came to the boundary, we would Tennessee check Trojan, and Trojan could be a clap wrap where it was a stunt, certain stunts, and then it was different coverage. And I'll never forget, the first time we did this, I don't remember who we were playing. This team must have knew what was going on because they was motioning us tight end back and forth. Right?
Trying
So like, they were getting us. So we're first of all, it's like tight end was to the field, and we were the regular call. Then he went in motion, got to the boundary, check, Trojan, and whatever the call was for the Trojan could have been 3 different calls. And then he would get up again. And then he would go back in motion to the field, and we're forgetting what the original call was. And we're like, 4. Like, you just kind of just like, and you just
I'm telling you, those people don't know the shit that goes on in pre-snap.
Yeah.
It's what you're just saying is hilarious because what for people who don't know this, like what that tight end was doing, they're trying to get you guys to dictate your coverage.
Yeah.
Or doing some type of a motion to get you guys to adjust. Yeah. Just so they can go back and do a different play off of your adjusted coverage, right? You know, and it's like, you know, when you see the guys, and if you watch college and pro games, guys that even just receivers or tight ends go to the center and just go back. Yep. That's just some type of indicator. You go across the formation, you're basically looking for man or zone. Yep. And the good defenses won't show until late.
They'll delay it.
Right, exactly. And it's just, those, you go from like a 1-call play sheet in high school to that. Like I always said, you know, we had the passing tree, 0 through 9 routes in offense, and probably 6 running plays.
Yeah.
You know, you had the odds to the left, evens to the right.
Yeah.
They basically call it the whole 26. The 2 or the 3 was the fullback. So if it's a 26, it's a halfback. If it's a 36, it's a fullback.
Hey, that's funny.
That's all it is. And now, and my playbook's down here. And what you're talking about is we had 20 plays for 3rd and 5 in the red zone, or past the 50, or coming out of the goal line. What they called the back goal line, which was basically 0 to 20 coming out. And we had that thing, what you're talking about, we had any outbreaking route. If we saw cover 2, just go deep. Yeah. Because, any outbreaking route on cover 2, you're done. Yeah. Because you're either going to get that whole shot in cover 2, or you're a clear out for something. But the problem with Joe Walton's offense was so complex, like you're talking about. We had a three receiver group that was starting twos, because he would signal the formation and running backs, receivers ran the play in. Yeah. And I got a funny story for that later. Maybe we'll share this after we get done talking. Is we come up, you see the receiver, like, check the line. We're good. Yeah. Hey, what do I do on this? Like, just nothing. Go deep. Because we didn't know. We're just like, freaking go deep. We knew that was a backside rule. Yeah. Just go deep. But it was such a learning curve. Yeah. That at Robert Morris, we ran the play for the first 4 or 5 weeks. We ran so many plays wrong. Yeah. All we had to do was run it right, and it was a completely different play. Because we just didn't know what it was, because it was so different and so complex. Yeah. We're like, now I understand why the Steelers struggle with this. I mean, and what you just described is the same thing on defense.
I never took, tests, like the film study, the pamphlets, the test, every Friday, I'm in college, and every Friday night at the hotel, we would get a test this bit thick, and it would always be, all right, out of this 12 formation or this 21 personnel or whatever personnel, all right, this is 70% run, 30% pass. This is 90% run. This is 10%, and so they broke it down by formation. Yeah. What the percentage of run through passes, and then by the routes as well. So it was one of the things was, all right, this formation, what routes do they run out of this formation? And you'll see me one time, we were playing Memphis, D'Angelo Williams. Yeah. He was playing there. He was really good. And I remember one time I knew this formation. If the slot receiver went in sprint motion, it was 100% run. Yeah. And you'll see there was a film where I saw it, and you see me just, and I'm literally, I just abandoned my zone. Before the pre-snap, I was all the way on the other side of the field. They handed it off to him, and I hit him on the other side. Just because I just knew, I recognized.
That's the film study.
That's film study. 100% run on this formation. 100% run. So that stuff makes you more knowledgeable of the game, just breaking it down, studying it. So.
Absolutely. And what's worse than the test, because I did that same thing on the offensive side. And a lot of times it's your positional coach that does it, right? Maybe the coordinator at most, but it was my position coach that did it most. But it was worse when you're just walking in practice, going to grab a water, grab a drink, and they quiz you right there on the practice field. Hey, what do you got on this? Hey, we got this plus. You have your Zen motion, because I played the X mostly, but sometimes I did Z. Okay. Because we had some really good tight ends that can flip flop different things. So, hey, if you're running Zen motion on this play, because what's your backside roll? I went, shit, I don't know. Go deep, because it was we screwed up. And I will tell you this though, by week 6 or 7 my freshman year, I was the go-to guy learning that playbook, because I'm like, you know what, I wanted to. The way I looked at it. And you might have looked at this way on defense, the way you're going to guarantee to be on the field is if you know what the hell you're doing. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's just the way I looked at it. And may not have had the best stats in the world, but I was on the field. But we had an all-pro running back, went to the Raiders. They would give him the ball, and he was just off.
Know that, man. You have to know you have to know what you're doing.
That's why when I hear dumb jock, I laugh. Yeah. Because you don't know.
And I say that, too, every week you're installing for another team. So, once this week's over, the game's over, Sunday hits, here's the game plan for the next team. You got to forget everything you did with that last game, and how we incorporate our defense that we have to fit the stuff that they run. Again, 30%, here's the formations. I got to know how many percent of the run, the pass, by 4. So every week, but you're just used to doing it. Yep. You know what I mean? Now I forget everything. But.
Listen, I get my kids' names crossed up at times. I got 2 kids,
Yeah.
I feel like Chris Tucker and now, which one y'all kicking? Yeah. Forget my kids' names at times. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So I looked at this as well too with Cincinnati. You played for four different D coordinators. Wasn't it right? But I know we have a lot, thanks to my man Harry Paceris and JJ Kitchen, we're in a lot with the Pitt community.
Yeah.
And, obviously I'm a Pitt fan as well as a Florida State fan, and we got a lot of Pitt alum, and watching the channel, we interact with the channel, and you got to play for Coach Narduzzi when he was a defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. So I would like to take a couple minutes just to give us a few stories about Narduzzi. One, what scheme is he running? I don't know how many Pitt games you watch, now or not, but is he running the same 4-3, 3 cover 3 under zones and stuff, or is that the same thing he ran there?
I mean, same. It was a lot of cover 4, and the difference between him and like I said, Rick Mentor was a genius. He could but sometimes you had to think too much. Where what we liked about Pat Narduzzi, Coach Deuce, was he just wanted you to play. So it was a lot of just over 4 with him. It was just
read and react.
Read and react.
Yep.
There was times where they moved into that linebacker position. They say, "Yo, Jay, you got to come into the A&B guy now." I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about? I can't do the A&B guy."
A&B what?
And they're teaching you stuff, and they always teach you the cut drill where they roll the ball and they want you to stop it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He would yell at you. He doesn't want you doing that stuff. He wants you to jump over everybody. He's never do that. I want you to lunge yourself, leap over this person, and try to make a tackle. That's that.
Wow. Okay.
And he taught you that. He would get mad if you tried to brace yourself for a cut. And I never forget, we're playing Miami of Ohio. We just played Ohio State week 1. This is my senior. We're playing Miami of Ohio the second week. I'm going on a blitz. The running back comes to cut me. And just natural reaction, you're just practicing this every day. And I literally just jump over the running back, and I get the sack. And I remember I was on the ground. I was like, "Oh my God, that worked." It worked. And I saw this is one of those guys. He was he's
fiery, isn't he?
Super fiery. I mean, his calves are freaking 2 big bowling balls. He got on his leg. I mean, he's cool. His emotion, you want to play for him because he's he brings that energy.
So he was more obviously he knows his X's and O's, or else he wouldn't be coaching. And I know, was D'Antonio, I think, was
D'Antonio.
Yeah, he was your head coach. Obviously, that's where Narduzzi followed to Michigan State, things like that, right? So he knows his X's and O's, but playing for him, it was more about the emotional connection he had with his players, right?
Yeah, he knew how to make you want to He had, like I said, him and D'Antonio, you see different coaching styles, and they all bring something different. D'Antonio taught you certain footwork that was just we had never knew before. As far as DBs and certain stances and how to break. I mean, he was perfect with that.
Wow. Okay.
And then Narduzzi, again, he knew how to shut people down, but he knew how to do it in the most basic defensive way. Yeah. And he let you play free. His thing was just letting you just play free. He didn't want you thinking too much. Mm-hmm. And, that's what we liked about him. And again, he's fiery. Yeah. So he was one of those people that really could bring it out. I never forget, I had early in the season, I didn't have a good game. And we were at practice. And he was at practice after, he was like, Jason, rest, what do I got to do? What do I got to do to get you mad? And I was like, what are you talking about, coach? He just what do I got to do? What do I got to do to get you mad?
Narduzzi was asking you this.
Narduzzi was asking me this. Just after practice, defense is done, we're walking off field. And then he just walks off. And then,
So he asks you a question and then just leaves.
Yeah, what are you talking about? So 2 weeks later, he has me, I don't play that good this other game. And he practiced, he come back, he has me go with the twos. And I'm a 3-year starter. Yeah. He has me go with the twos. He benches me and puts me with the twos at practice. And now I'm really mad now. I don't even want to be at practice. Whatever, man. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I got my spot took. And Thursday practice again. I'm mad. But I don't want to be here. I'm just practicing. I'm going through the moves. And we're in the locker room. And the trainer, I should say, Bill Walker. Okay. He's like, Jace, go in my office. And I'm like, for what, Bill? And he's like, Coach Duty's in there. And I'm like, I'm I'm not going in there talking to him. And he's like, you know, when Bill said twice, go in the locker room. I'm like, all right. So, you know, when he tell you something, you just do it.
Yeah.
And so I go in the locker room, and he's just in Bill's locker room. His legs is up on the desk. He just
calves
smiling.
everywhere.
Yeah. He just smiling, right? He's like, Ross, this is a really nice office. Like, everything's a game. Hey, this is a really nice office. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you mad at me? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, why you mad at me? And I'm like, because you bitch, like, you got me with the twos. He's like, you're not the twos. He said, remember when I asked you how to get you mad? He said, it's only way I know to get you real mad. And I said, come on, man, why would you do that to me?
Jason, I am so glad you said that, because I was on my boy JJ's podcast on Sunday, and the fans were killing Narduzzi for blasting Hicks, the wide receiver, in the media, publicly. And I was telling them, you understand that you treat players equally, but you treat them different. And Narduzzi, this was so great that you say this, because he knows how to push buttons. There are certain players you don't call out publicly, but there's certain players you do. There are certain players like Jason. You know what? I'm just going to bench him,
right?
And it's going to get him to play well. And probably had a pretty good game afterwards, right? That is that's kind of like a master motivator. What you're talking about, like, he knows his X's and O's, but he knows how to motivate you, let you play. That's a great story.
Narduzzi was my defense coordinator my senior year, and somehow we had this connection that was really good one year. And I'll never forget Narduzzi to this day when he came to Pitt. Narduzzi will look out for any of his players. Like, I mean, to this day, if you play for Coach Narduzzi, I remember when I was done with college and I was working in the mill, the Clarendon Mills. He was like, where Pitt was playing Cincinnati, so it was here at Pitt.
Yeah.
And he was like, what you doing right now, Russ? And I said, I'm working at the mill. He said, the mill? You got a college degree? What you doing working in the mill? And he was like, call me. And he was like, anything I can do, reference, anything.
Wow.
So, I mean, he's to this day, when he came to Pitt years later as a coach, and I was working at Pitt, first person we found out was there. Russ, what you doing? Come on. I mean, he's had other players. But if he's one of your guys, if you play with him and he respects you, he rock with you forever. That's
kind of a coach that I would like to play for as well too. That's kind of like how some of the coaches I've played with as well too.
Yeah.
That's really good. Did you ever think of like being a grad assistant at Pitt?
No.
Emphatically, no.
Hey, you know how they get treated.
Yeah.
I mean, I never forget. I was walking past the football office one night. And I was walking past Coach Doozy's office, and he was like, Russ, look. And he had like his like a blood mattress in this. He said, look. He's like laughing. And I'm like, look at this. He's like, see what I do for you guys? I got to sleep here. Right? And I never forget one of my Jim Tressel's nephew was our coach.
Okay.
He came in that same year with D'Antonio from Ohio State.
Okay.
And I never forget, we had a position meeting, and he was my guy. And he's like, Russ, my wife was driving past a football field, and my son looked at her and said, hey, Mommy, is that where Daddy lives? Right? And one of the guys on the team, one of the players, the younger players, started like snickering, and he went off. You think it's funny? I don't see my I mean, I've seen GAs get done, like they just talk to them reckless. I'm like, I can't get talked to reckless like that. Like
reckless or talking down.
I can't do it. I'm seeing it, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. They're just punching bags for everybody.
No, I respect that, because I'm the same in a sense too. And people don't realize though too. It's like, because again, the first thing you get with fans, fire coaches. They don't realize the time that they put in. Now, granted, all coaches aren't good coaches.
Everybody,
but you can ever, in my opinion, fault coaches for effort and what they put into a team, whether it's you were talking about earlier, D2, D3, or D1, and then even in the NFL level and such too, because there is such
the amount of work and effort it takes.
Amount of work, exactly. Because again, the amount of film you got to watch, and you got to break down players as well as scheme. It's a lot.
You play Saturday, and then by Sunday they already have the game plan and everything that day. I mean,
and you could only have so many hours.
You can only have some hours
per NCAA rules and such. Correct.
To prepare a team each week for a different team, it takes a lot. I mean, it's hard.
So it's interesting. The reason I asked you about, if you consider graduate assistants, because you obviously are in coaching now.
Mm-hmm.
And we had spoken, previously coming on this. Obviously, you coach girls flag football at Moon High School.
That's right.
And then part of the Big 33 program with the Steelers.
Right.
So I want to have my first question, and then I want you to lead into the Moon job first.
Okay.
What made you go to flag football, and then obviously teaching young women about the game, which I think is great because it's broadening the audience for football. So how did you get into coaching flag football, and then how did you get the position at Moon?
My good friend, I started at Pitt, University of Pitt, and my friend to this day, Chris Kurd, he played football at Pitt.
Okay.
And we met in 2008, and like a few months later, he was telling me he was starting this adult flag league.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept asking me to play, and I was one of those guys. I'm like 3 years out of college now. I'm not chasing no drink. I was one of them guys. Like, when I'm done, I'm done.
You've already got your varsity jacket, right?
I'm not playing no semi-pro, no disrespect. I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I got it.
Yep.
He kept asking, like, come on, I just need one more person for this other team. So I said, all right, cool. So I played like a season or so in his adult league.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, I'm thinking about doing youth. Like, let's coach youth. Let's do this Pittsburgh Flag Football League. Let's coach the youth. And I'm like, I'm not no coach. Like, I'm like telling you right now, I can't coach. I can't deal with parents. That's what I kept saying. Like, I don't want to deal with parents. I don't have that type of responsibility to be no coach.
We'll tell the parents how it is. The problem is, you want to win, or do you want your kid to play?
Like, I'm not ready. I'm not doing this. This is like 2010, 2011. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't have it. And eventually I was like, all right, I'll do it. So it was just, we started with like 20 kids in the flag football league, and then it started growing, and over the years, and now it's like 5, 6. It's like the biggest program in Western PA.
Yeah.
And we were doing boys travel in 2015. We started travel, and it was boys, and Mike Chen from the Steelers would select us to represent the Steelers in the NFL Flag Nationals.
Okay. So
we had took 3 boy teams, like 14 under, 3 years in a row. We were very appreciative of Mike Chen doing that. So as they're doing that, I have a daughter who's like 11, 12. And I'm trying to she plays soccer, but she's very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you want to play flag? Like, I'm like trying to tell her, you don't want to play flag? And she never wanted to play. And then I think I took her we just got girls together, and I took her to a practice, and she wanted to play. And she was the reason why I just committed myself to just the girls. Like, I wanted to just coach her.
Okay.
I wanted to teach her. And in that, I started liking it more because you're truly teaching people who never played the sport. So with the boys, they play Madden. They go outside and play all day.
Yeah.
They got
their own plays going.
They got all the suggestions they want to
do.
And you get you got to have a certain kind of patience with the boys. The girls, you're literally teaching them what a first down is. You're teaching them what out of bounds is. Like, you're teaching them step by step. It's like building a house every day.
Does that make you, because they seem like they will appreciate, and I need you to correct me if I'm on the right track here, if the young women will appreciate those details, which in turn makes you appreciate you coaching them better.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it bothers you because they listen too much. It's like sometimes, like, I'll like, even now in the high school, like, I'll call a play and I'll say, hey, here's your read. Yeah. And they'll throw it to that person. And I'm like, but they recovered. You said that's the person to throw to. And I'm like, but they recovered.
They recovered, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, they tell it.
I said that, but I didn't mean
it. I was like, it's like, so because they listen to a T, it's cool, but you got to like, you got to teach them how to, like, all right, there's other people you can throw to on the field.
I mean, you've done a good job. How long have you been doing it with Moon?
So this is my 5th year with Moon, coaching as a head coach for Moon. We've been very successful.
I was going to say, there's a lot of success. I saw a lot of runner-ups. I saw some championships. I think that's a credit to, like, when you're taking, because you're probably not the only person taking kids and young women from the ground up.
Yeah.
So your fundamentals are working.
Yeah.
And again, listen, as you know, in football, especially at the high school level, where you get an athlete or two, you're good.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to be able to good. Yeah. But you can't have that success that you've had at Moon without them understanding the fundamentals.
Yeah, it's been 4 years. For the first 4 years, we've been to the championship all 4 years. We had like a 42 game, non-losing streak. 1-2 of the championship. We just lost to a good team. That was a three-peat. I'm actually I wouldn't say I'm happy when we lost. But it took some. It helped me. Like the three-peat. I don't know what I'd have done if I'd have won 3.
You asked for a raise, which you would have. Like, listen, go to the principal. I know a guy. You go to the principal, like, hey, listen, I need a raise here. We'll go and do it for you guys.
It made me, but it did kind of bring me back to the drawing board and start. But you're right. You're teaching people every year. You're teaching, and it's been growing. We started with 6 girls. And then this season we had 53 girls on the roster at the beginning. I mean, it's a lot. So it's been fun though. But teaching them again.
Yeah, I think it's a growing sport in Western Pennsylvania. Is the girls' flag football. Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of women that are athletes in here. Mm-hmm. They're just now they're giving an opportunity to show something different than softball, basketball, things like that. So I know here at West Allegheny we've seen some of those, and it's great to see these girls go out there and play. So it's great that you're in there. I'm a little jealous because I love to play because that's what stopped me from coaching.
Really?
It was the parents. Because I would what I said earlier, like, you want to win or you want your kid to play, that would have been me, and I would have been employed very long. But because it's the passion of the game, right? And anybody who's played has that passion.
You know what's funny though? The parents really aren't an issue, but I always say because they don't know the rules. So like that's it. Like if they. As they play longer and longer, there'll be more, but a lot of times they don't really know the rules, so they kind of just watch. It's been pretty cool.
Cool, and it's great. I'd love to dig into more stories at a later time with you with that too. But the second one is the Big 33 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. And how did you get? Was it because of the Moon involvement, or was there a separate avenue that got you to that position?
The first 2 years, like I said, my friend Chris Kerr from the Pittsburgh Flag Football League, Mike Chin.
Shout out to Mike Chin,
Marchinsky,
brother. Appreciate you, brother.
I love Mike Chin. Great guy. We did it the first. I was, asked to be a coach. Yeah. That first 2 years on those teams, and this year was the first year that the Steelers, because like the Steelers were running, like the Steelers definitely reached out and said, hey, we want you to be the head coach again. Okay. And that, for some reason this year, I don't know, it hit me more than any other year. I was like I remember I said I'm kind of done with the Big 33. I remember I said I'm done with the Big 33, and then the Steelers called me like a week later, like, hey, we want you to coach the Big 33 to do it. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things,
remember Woody Hyde? Like, listen, we always checked, even though we had no shot, who's in the Big 33? Yeah. How many guys did I play against, or did I get a vote somewhere? The Big 33 is the thing.
Yeah, so for it to be the third year and for
that's great, man.
Out there, it's very appreciative.
So talk about when is it more of like it's an all-star team from the second would be for regular high school football, right? Yeah. And what is that process? Are you involved in like the tryout process, the voting process? Yeah. What is that process similar to how boys would do with the padded football?
Right. The first year, it was selection. It was selected. They took random players from different markets who are good players. The last 2 years, they went to the route how it's going now, where it's tryout.
Because there's more teams now,
right?
More
teams now. Yeah. Okay. So it's tryout, and it's early. Like the first year, that process happened at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So we really only had like a week to decide who head coaches. But the last 2 years has been, all right, the season starts like March. The Big 33 tryout is like right at the beginning of the season. Okay. So, we do like 2 tryouts for all the seniors to come, and, I select like who it is that I think would be good for that game.
Cool. Great. So I looked on there too. I mean, let's tell everybody about your staff. Yeah. You got a couple of assistant coaches with you. Yeah. What is their contributions? Obviously, they're probably significant, but talk about forming your staff and talk about what they contribute to that team.
Yeah, obviously Chris Kerr, my guy from Pittsburgh Flag Football League. He also coaches at Ellis. Great guy, brings great structure.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. He's one of those guys that's like, if your program ain't really doing good, he can bring order to it. You know what I'm saying? Bring order to it. Bring some kind of like, all right, here's how we practice.
Gotcha.
Ryan from Upper St. Clair, great guy. He played quarterback in college.
Okay.
He has like an offensive playbook that I hear is just like, yeah, they say it's a stack this big. He just kind of just run them out. Yeah, just trying to run plays. And Haley Adams at Gateway, and from Gateway, she's the head coach there. She's been part of NFL flag for a long time. So her knowledge and just the structure of the game and just being a part of that community is why we're glad to have her on.
That's great. That sounds good. So what the team has 22 players this year. I saw the 2026 roster. Saw couple Moon girls. Yeah. But I did see a lot of schools represented with some with some players. How is this squad looking for this year? And I'm gonna tell you guys where to see them play a little bit later on. But how's the 2026 team looking?
We'll see. We haven't had any practices yet. We'll see. We always tell the players when they come to trials that it's not necessarily like it doesn't matter where you play in your high school. Mm-hmm. We're just looking for athletes. You'll probably play a different position on this team, but we try to get the best athletes, people that we feel that are good people and can represent their school and the Steelers in the right capacity. So we feel like we got a team that will be. We've been in the championship the last 2 years. We've lost to the Philadelphia Eagles both times. It's been a last drive both times. It's been tough. So this year we're looking to take it.
Some shenanigans maybe.
Yeah.
No, obviously 100%. Oh, but you just brought up something. I just had a question. You talk about girls might play different positions. Do you see with the girls flag football a little bit more position flexibility in a sense because they're learning the game? It's like you may find something out week 9 or whether it's in the Moon season or something else. Like what. This girl could probably do better at this position because her skill set's really showing for this. Yeah. Is there more position flexibility?
Oh, yeah. Listen, at Moon, one of the things we do, my girls have to know at least 2 different positions on offense and defense. Okay. I don't care how good you are. You have to know multiple positions because you just don't know what's going to happen in the season. So they have to know the playbook, and I would say, hey, some people have to know 3. We've had girls in the past that have had to know all 7 positions.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, because, sometimes if your roster's thin, you want to make sure you have your best players out there. Somebody's tired, somebody gets hurt for a couple. You want to make sure that you got somebody who knows what they're doing. So my girls have to know multiple positions.
Listen, I'm going to try to actually get down there this year to see you guys. Get to know you as well, too. I'm very curious to see how your girls will play, considering the knowledge you have of the game. Yeah. And I'm going to read you guys this. So the PSFCA Big 33, a little historical here, created the very first girls flag football tournament in the country in 2024 with support from the 4 teams. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh Steelers here, Philadelphia Eagles, the Ravens, and the Commanders. Obviously the PA, Maryland area. The PSFCA Big 33 Memorial Day weekend officially begins May 20th and concludes Sunday, May 24th with the 69th Big 33 Football Classic presented by Renewal by Anderson. I actually got one of their windows up in my house. Practices and pregame events for boys football and players and cheerleaders from Pennsylvania and Maryland will take place at Chapman Field at Cumberland Valley High School. Right, the Big 33 Girls Flag Football Tournament, Friday, May 22nd, there's a welcome picnic, 7 o'clock. And then Saturday, May 23rd, rounds 1 and 2. Yep. And then Sunday, May 24th, it says here round 3, and then the championship game, right? Yeah. So we'll post information to get your tickets to these games, the flag football games. If you want to go check out Coach Jason as well as the other teams for the girls flag football, I think it'll be a really, really great thing to watch. Just to see these young women compete at a sport at a very high level with some gentlemen that actually know the game of football very, very well and teaching these girls to really flourish. So if you check the comment section below, we will post the links to grab tickets to the Big 33 Women's Flag Football event. to go see Coach Jason, as well as the Commanders, Ravens, boo, and I'm kidding, and the Eagles flag football teams. I'm sure it'll be a great time, great atmosphere. Jason, I can't thank you enough for stopping by the Bird Cave, man. Thank you, Craig. Beer We Go, for sponsoring this podcast.
Here we go.
And any closing comments about?
Listen, this was great. I'm glad to be a part of this. This is an awesome chat. I haven't been able to chat like this. I've never really just chatted about football like this. Again, and if you are able to watch the Big 33, they do a great job for their ladies. The whole weekend, the ceremonies, the picnics, the games. So it's a fun time. It's growing. It's just growing. It's growing.
It's growing. 1 second. Don't answer this though. So you got any last comments here as we close out? I said that a lot better than I did the last time too. So, all right, now we're gonna get to close out here real quick. One. All right, thanks, Jason. Again, 100%. Welcome back anytime here in the Bird Cave, man. I appreciate you. I hope to talk to you again down the road, man. Again, one baller to another baller. You can already tell me there's gonna be a lot. I got so many more football conversations I love to have with you, especially with Coach Narduzzi and even some of the schematic things you did at Cincinnati. Because I'm a ball nerd. You're probably the same way.
Yeah.
We'll have a good conversation. So appreciate you for coming out, man.
All right.
See you guys on the next one.